Hey guys, made a video recently talking about the confused messages, the mixed messages we're getting about, hey, the Olympics is coming, yay, and then on the other hand we're getting this, oh no, our coronavirus cases are at an all-time high and we're in deep trouble and everybody please stay home and be careful. So this week and today it's become even more ridiculous. We're seeing more of the same taken to another step. So first of all, just to clarify something, if you haven't seen it already, here is a list of all the countries that are currently banned from visiting Japan. Okay, on the screen now you can see the list of countries that have been banned from coming to Japan. Probably much easier just to give you a list of countries that aren't banned from coming to Japan. And then it says in the small print, it says unless under special circumstances. So we have to assume that the special circumstances might include if you want to come here and play sport or compete in an Olympics with people from around the world. That must be a special circumstance. So that has been the case for a long time, for a year, maybe a year. They compiled a list like that. They've just been adding to the list. But they've also started another list recently, and it's the list of countries that have COVID variances. So new variances of COVID, right? New types of COVID that we're not going to get, we don't have a vaccine for yet, right? So they have a list of them, and just today they announced another 4 places that were added to the list. So all of India, where else? Peru, and 4 states in America, 4 states in the USA have been added to a list of 32 places that are singled out for special attention. So I know it's confusing. It is confusing. The first list that I showed you there with the long list of everybody who's banned included all of the USA, right, and all those other countries, or Europe, and pretty much everybody, didn't it? And those guys, can only come to Japan under special circumstances. So you can't come for a holiday, for example. Only under special circumstances can you come, and then you have to be in quarantine, and you have to have proof that you've had a PCA test or you've had a vaccine, and you have to have, it has to be from an approved place somewhere in your country, and the whole list of things that you have to conform to before you'll be allowed to come to Japan. And then in addition to that, these other 32 places have additional quarantine measures and additional rules about if they want to come to Japan. Pretty much, I would suggest they have pretty much no hope. If you're on that list of 32, you have pretty much no chance, right? As if anyone would want to be traveling here at the moment anyway. I mean, we were doing pretty well for a while, but now we're one of the countries that, very, very few people have had the vaccine yet. There's only been a few of the healthcare workers have had the vaccine. They're supposed to be starting to give it to the people that are over 85 years old, but they've been saying that's about to happen. We haven't seen any examples of that. They say that we'll have enough vaccine for everybody by September, but we haven't seen any proof of that either. So why would you want to come here anyway? But the funny thing is, or the ironic thing is, or the confusing thing is, that the same people, the same politicians, the Prime Minister and all these other high-ranking people, the same ones that have been making all the speeches about coronavirus and all these countries that are banned and you have to stay home and warning us not to go out and just declaring states of emergency in different prefectures around Japan. The same people are also making speeches about the Olympics, right? And watching the news is just amazing because of course the Olympic flame's going around Japan at the moment, right? So every time you look at the newspaper or you look online at the online newspaper or you turn on the TV news at night, every day there's the report about where the Olympic flame is today, right? Which town or which city that's going through, and there's all the people going, yay, Probably some people behind them standing there shaking their heads, but every day we're seeing the progress of the Olympic flame and more talk about the Olympics. The same people that are saying lockdown and banning countries said this week that they're working out a special way that the athletes can start training as soon as they arrive in Japan, right? which is sort of interesting because, you know, obviously usually anybody that's coming to Japan right now would have to go into isolation for 2 weeks, but they're saying they want to be able to make it that when the athletes arrive that they can start training straight away, which who knows how they're going to do that. The other thing they said today was that they're going to announce in June, they're going to announce the spectator caps. So they're going to announce how many spectators will be allowed to watch the games. Now, they're going to announce it in June. The Olympics are in July, right? So fair to guess that it's not going to include anybody from outside Japan. It's only going to be people inside Japan that have a chance of watching it. But they're going to announce the caps in June, and the Olympics start in July. So how anybody's going to be organised, right? Assuming people want to go and watch, you know, we're not going to know until the last moment how many can go and watch and where we go. It's just ridiculous. There's no logic. There's no logic to any of this. There's no common sense. It's really hard to watch the news and not sit there and just shake your head, because the report now, you know, today in, you know, Shiga or wherever it was today, can't remember where it was today, you know, the Olympic flame was going through, and in other stories, you know, today, you know, Japan had its highest incidence ever of new cases of corona, and, you know, everyone has to stay home. So it's just ridiculous. It's just, either way this goes, it's ridiculous. They're either going to keep playing this silly game right up until the last moment and then cancel it, or they're going to really go through with it. I mean, the closer we get to July, the more likely it seems they might actually go through with this, and they might actually hold the games, which is just even more insane, isn't it? I mean, pretending to hold it and then cancelling at the last moment is pretty crazy, but actually going through with it is just insane, isn't it? All these new variances that are breaking out all around the world, they really think that bringing everybody here into one small place for a couple of weeks and then sending everybody home again, because obviously it's not just the athletes, is it? It's the athletes and the coaches and the media and all these other sundry people that are going to be coming from all around the world, hanging out together for 2 weeks and then all going home again. What could possibly go wrong? So, it's just nuts. It's just nuts. It's just nuts, isn't it? It's just crazy. It's just crazy. So again, these videos are always unpopular because there's for a whole heap of reasons. Some people just don't want to hear about it. Some people think we take it too seriously, that Corona's all a fake hoax and that we take it too seriously. Other people think that we're sheep because we're being lied to and Corona is actually more serious than we think it is, and we're not taking it seriously enough. So there's a whole bunch of people who hate these videos, but we always promise you that we'll make videos about everything we see in Japan. That's what we say, isn't it? So, you know, it's hard not to talk about this at the moment because it's probably the most important thing that's happening in Japan at the moment, you know, because it's going to affect the whole world, you know. Particularly if they go through with it. If they do actually go through with it, it could really affect the whole world negatively, couldn't it? It really could. So, just insane, you know. And then throw into that mix the reporting about the Olympic torch, and then the reporting about all the outbreaks, and they're constantly talking. Instead of that previous video about them saying they're considering and they're thinking about and they're discussing and they're talking about all these different measures. You know, a heightened state of emergency. They asked all the restaurants and bars to close, which it's really messed up a lot of the small businesses, obviously, because they asked all the restaurants and bars to close. And so at the same time they're doing that, no sign of the vaccine. You know, all these meetings, the last 12 months, all these meetings and all this talking and thinking and talking and more thinking and more talking that they've done, if they put all that effort into getting the vaccine and getting it out to the people, you know, a lot of these problems would be solved. But they're trying to sort of patch up without actually fixing the problem. But fixing the problem obviously is the vaccine, isn't it? According to what medical experts say. Conspiracy experts say something else, but medical experts say that the solution is the vaccine. Instead of doing that, which would actually help solve a lot of these problems, they're just running around sticking their fingers in dikes. Those of you who know about the dike thing. Going around sort of putting out spot fires while this huge bushfire is raging towards us, you know. They're walking around with a watering can, putting, oh, maybe if we do this, maybe if we do that. It's just a joke. It's just a laughable. And at the same time, all the numbers are up high and there's people dying and it's just a tragedy. You know, it's just a tragedy. So it's frustrating. It's really frustrating. It gets more frustrating by the day. It really, really does. It really, really does. It's just so unnecessary. The unnecessary wasting and faffing that they're doing, you know, it's resulting in more people dying and more people suffering in all sorts of ways, you know. People getting really sick and all the consequences that go along with all that, you know. So it's just frustrating. It's just really frustrating. So that's this week's update. No doubt it's going to get worse before it gets better because these guys have got no idea. You know, they're all about talking and meeting and talking and press releases, and we're thinking about considering talking about this some more, you know, and just doing nothing, just talking and doing nothing, getting nothing done. We're seeing no results. We're seeing no action. We're just hearing a lot of talking, you know. It's very frustrating. So anyway, that was that. Look, just to clarify, we don't like these videos either. We don't. But what tends to happen, because the Olympics is on the world stage, what tends to happen is people will see stories about these things on the internet and in their mainstream media in their own countries and ask us about it. Hey, I saw that, you know, it seems the Olympics is still going ahead. What's happening with that? And I heard that Japan's had its highest number of new cases of COVID, and you know, lots of questions like that. So of course we're going to get asked about it because people are going to say, hey, what about that? What about that? And ironic, isn't it amazing that at the same time that we're getting the highest number of COVID cases at the same time, you know, yeah, they're still running the Olympic torch around talking about what a great Olympics it's going to be. So there's that. Fortunately, some of us get the opportunity to get out in the rice fields. See, they've flooded the fields. So it's been raining for a couple of days. But these fields have been flooded on purpose. This one's actually been planted already. You can see the rows of, might be a bit hard to see in this low light, but there's actually rows of seedlings in there already. It's already been planted. The one on our right hasn't been planted. The one on the left has. So they flood them, big taps. We've showed you that before, haven't we? They open up the big taps like a big swimming pool and just fill it up with the big tap and then come along. You see the old guys come along and check and turn the tap off when it's full. And all this rain is just a bonus. But they'll be wanting it to stop because they want to plant. They haven't planted these other ones here. They planted that first one. So they'll want the rain to stop now so they can plant. And they'll want the sun to come out to make it all grow. So, but that's not going to happen. We're going to have a couple more days of rain before that happens. Anyway, there's all that. More videos coming soon.